Hi, and welcome to Come Along with Christina. Today I'm going to review the Alaska cruise with Norwegian Cruise Line. So we did the 7-day cruise that went round trip from Seattle that included Dawes Glacier, Juneau, and Ketchikan. I'm going to get into more specifics on the actual port stops in my next video, but I wanted to start with the top 5 things we wish we knew before going on this Alaska cruise. First of all, let me just say, this is one of the best cruises and best vacations we have ever been on. We're not really outdoorsy people, I would say. And this was just so incredibly cool and so different. We've done a lot of cruises, a lot of Caribbean cruises, a lot of cruises around different parts of Europe, but this was something that literally the entire family enjoyed. And we have 2 kids, 6 and under, so I don't know how we would have seen some of these places that we saw in Alaska that were so remote, these little villages, some of them only accessible by, boat or ship. How we would have done that, as a family without the convenience of the cruise line. So let me tell you a little bit about this vacation because truly it was awesome. We saw everything on this vacation. We saw bears, whales, eagle nests so big you could stand inside them. So tip number 1, the sights on this Alaska cruise were insane. And so I would recommend getting a balcony room if you can. Yes, you can see the sights, on other parts of the cruise ship and you can look out, but having a balcony is really going to make this an unforgettable experience. So there's one day where you go through a glacier passage. And so we just sat out on our balcony. The kids, they were outside for a little bit, but it was a little cold. Then they went inside when they wanted to. And my husband and I got champagne. We stayed on the balcony and just looked out. And you would just see glaciers, waterfalls coming off glaciers. We would look over and you saw actual icebergs, like pieces of icebergs that had broken off and were just floating. And they were huge, some of them, that you can just see on the water. It was just so calm and relaxing and beautiful. And then all of a sudden you saw a huge rainbow come over the ship. Like it wasn't there. And then all of a sudden it came. And it was just one of those moments that was so emotional because it was just one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen. And that's, exactly what we were looking for on this kind of cruise. Just the kind of things that, you don't see anywhere else. And it's in our very own country. And then when you went through the passage, it comes to a dead end. So there's really no way else to see this except by boat or by ship. And so it comes to a dead end when the whole glacier is right in front of you. And that part you can see from the side on your balcony, or you can go to a different part of the ship if you want to see it head on. And they stay there for about 30 minutes so that everyone can get a real look at it. But to see it on the balcony was, and not just the passage part, but the entire, the cruise, just all the different ports coming in. It was really something special. Definitely get a balcony room if you can. Tip number 2, know that going in, this is going to be different than probably your typical cruise, especially if you're used to a Caribbean cruise. And now I know it sounds like, well, yes, obviously we're going to Alaska, but there are a few things that even surprised me about what I had expected. So we left out of Seattle and this was in the end of July. So I would say the first day we all went in the pool. The second day, we were at sea headed to Alaska. The kids still went in the pool and they went in the splash pad. The parents didn't. And by that night or the third day, not one person, maybe one, was in the pool. It started to get very different weather-wise.
So when it is headed to Alaska, it is starting to look a little dreary. Just a little on the dreary side.
More gray skies, more light rain, a lot colder. And so now picture your normal cruise where all those people are outside, by the pool, doing the sexy leg competition or doing the dancing. They're now inside or in different areas of the ship. And so that was different. So I would really expect to maybe bring some games with you if you have younger kids to kind of keep them busy. I brought a little game and toy for each of them that they hadn't seen before. And that kind of helped us when we wanted to go into the lounge and just relax. And they were inside and probably not doing as much activities as they normally did on like a Disney cruise line. And so they were able to kind of chill out with us in the lounge while we looked outside the window and were watching the water. But, if you have older kids, you could do the basketball courts, ping pong. They do have an arcade. You have to pay for that. So you can decide how often, you want to be in there. They have bowling and things like that. But the laser tag is outside, so no one was in that. The mini golf, I really didn't see anyone mini golfing. And they do have that really awesome racetrack on the top of the ship. But we actually never went on it because every day it was open. The weather conditions made it too slippery and they didn't open it. So I was surprised how much we were going to be inside the ship. And so that was a little different, and I would have planned for that a little better had I known. Also, when you think about a different kind of vacation, we like to hang out on the balcony at night. We love getting the balcony for that reason, because if, the kids don't want to go to the kids club that night, or they went to the kids club, but now it's late and maybe it's, 10:30 and we bring them back to the room, our night is not over. We can still go on the balcony, have a glass of wine and play some music and enjoy the night. And we do this pretty much on every cruise. So I didn't think this through, I guess. But, not really a thing on the Alaska cruise. It's cold.
This is not a pool day. It is not.
And especially at night with the wind, in the darkness of the ocean, it was freezing. And so, one night we really tried. We put on 2 layers of pants and coats and gloves. We went out there with our wine. I think we made it 30 minutes or something. And then we were like, let's go inside. So that was a little different. So definitely take advantage of the kids club. Tip number 3, pack layers, clothing wise. So the temperatures in these different ports between Seattle and different parts of Alaska changed so many times. And they changed not only between ports, but in the same port in the same day. So you'd go out in the morning, let's say on whale watching. One of the first days we were on a whale watching tour in, the water at one of the ports, and the kids were crying that they were freezing. It was so cold on the top of that boat that, I bought hats and scarves, and we were cold. I had to bring them to the lower level inside. Then when we got off, we were walking around the town. I was hot standing in the sun. I actually had to take off a layer, and that was within the same day. So what I would recommend is to wear some sort of, leggings or fleece. I don't want you to be too hot with the fleece leggings. I wore not fleece leggings like I would wear in the winter, but not super thin, kind of a midway legging. And then I had on a long sleeve t-shirt, and then like a fleece zip up hoodie, and then a jacket. And so that way I can kind of take it off, and I dress the kids pretty much the same way. For shoes, you can wear rain boots. The thing is, I don't find them really comfortable, like long walks in rain boots. They're kind of a little clunky. If you have comfortable ones, wear those. I wore more of these like hiking style boots that were waterproof, and those were comfortable, and that was great because it rains a little bit and then the sun comes out a little bit. So you want your feet to be dry, but you don't want to be really in like Uggs or something, because then your feet are going to be sweating. So that is my tip on what to wear, and definitely pack hats and gloves as well. When you don't need them, you just put them in your backpack. And the backpack, I'm not a big backpack person. I don't know the last time I've worn a backpack, but I bought one off of Amazon that was so small. You can actually just, fold it really small and put it in your luggage, and it was waterproof, and that was great. We fit all of our stuff in there, and it made it really convenient. Tip number 4, check out the shows. The shows were really great. The musicals were awesome, and there's a show called The Icons where they do covers of, your favorite, hits over the different decades. The shows were really great. You can either bring the kids or not bring the kids, but we really enjoyed those. It's easier to get, reservations sometimes ahead of time, but I found that you didn't actually need reservations to get into these shows. We did it right on the ship and just picked the night we wanted to go, and it was pretty simple. Okay, my final tip number 5. If you are ever going to invest in the Haven, which is the ship within a ship option that Norwegian offers, very concierge level, this would be a really great itinerary, in my opinion, to do this on. Two reasons. One, you're going to get, a bigger room. You're going to get the amenities like your own restaurant, your own pool area, your own lounge. And that's going to be helpful because, again, all of the people that you usually see outside at the pools, at mini golf, on the, different things, activities outside, they are going to be more inside. And so the ship did feel a little more crowded than other Norwegian cruise lines have felt. The observation lounge, for example, is stunning, and it's the whole floor with windows all the way around. Very relaxing. I will say, at the height times of the day, the busy times, a lot of people come there and they kind of camp out. Like you'll see them laying on the couches, laying on their backpacks, laying on the floor. It was hard to find a spot, and then they would just stay there for like hours. And so it felt a little cramped. Nothing I couldn't deal with. This was still a very enjoyable cruise, but definitely more cramped than I've seen lounges on other Norwegian lines. So if you're in the Haven, you have your own section now that you're not going to be sharing with the other guests. But more importantly, you are going to have the Haven pool. And all the Havens are different. I've been on ones in Europe where the pool was outside. This pool on the Norwegian Bliss is inside, kind of atrium style. So there's a covering over the pool, which means it's inside. In Alaska, this is so necessary. And I wish I had known that because, wow, I was not in the pool this cruise. And I knew that going into it. I knew this was about doing something different and going to Alaska. And this was more about the outdoors and the sights. But, a little pool time when you come back is nice to have. And I was really not in the pool. They do have jacuzzis in the regular area of the ship. The problem is, and I don't know if this was just a weather situation or this is just the Alaska climate, but the jacuzzis are on the top of the ship. And it was very windy. So it's very cold. So your face is freezing. But if you've ever gone in a jacuzzi on like a ski trip, you've probably had that before, and that's tolerable. But it was so windy. I mean, you could just hear the wind. That's how loud it was. And so when your head is cold and it's windy, that's not really enjoyable. So I went in the jacuzzi maybe 1 or 2 times, and I made the run back to get my towel, which was awful. But even the jacuzzi really wasn't that enjoyable, if I'm being honest. So if you have the Haven where you have the jacuzzis and the pool indoors, atrium style, man, then you really have it all. So those would be my 5 tips. And you're there to see America's last frontier. You are there to see the excursions, which I'm gonna tell you more about in the next video. And even the air felt different. When you walked off the ship in Alaska and you breathe in the air, I was like, wow, we are not in Seattle anymore. We are not in Florida anymore. We are not in New York anymore. We are somewhere completely different. The air felt lighter and cleaner, and the sights were just absolutely stunning. And I'm so excited to show you those in my next video. Well, thanks for watching. Come Along with Christina. I'll see you again soon. Bye.